What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, in this video today, I'm going to be talking about Lamar Jackson's extension and how it really does not matter. All right, and I will get into the reasonings. But before that, I will say, starting on Monday, I'm going out of town for about 8 days. I'll be getting back on the Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to have a video out every day, but I'm going to try and have at least one every other day. I'm going to pre-record some, and then if any Ravens news or anything like that happens, I'll try and make a recorded video. It'll be on my phone. I apologize. But I'll kind of talk about my thoughts and things like that. They may come out as YouTube shorts. They may come out as, longer videos, however it ends up turning out. But I just want to let you guys know in advance. But I don't expect there to be a lot of Ravens news, so I don't think I'll miss out on anything huge. But if something does happen, I'll make a video about it on my phone, talk with you guys about it. But I'll be in Hawaii during that time. But now let's get into this video. All right, Lamar Jackson, the future of the Baltimore Ravens franchise, the face of the franchise. Some could argue the face of the NFL. Now, a lot of people would say Mahomes, Brady. I think Lamar Jackson is in the top 3 in the most prominent figures in the NFL. All right? So, when you talk about a player like that, obviously, you're talking about their future, right? You're talking about, is he going to stay with his team? Because if you look at, the greatest of all time across sports, most, players that are generational talents, they stick with their team. There's exceptions, particularly in the NBA, guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, things of that nature where they go, you know what? I'm not winning a championship where I'm at. I'm going to move and try and win somewhere else. But in the NFL, typically, those legends have stayed, right? Big Ben stayed. Tom Brady stayed. Manning stayed. And I'm just talking about, their first contract, all right? Obviously late in their career, they ended up moving on. Rodgers stayed. These are players that are Mahomes stayed. Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the face of the franchise for the Houston Texans. He signed his massive extension, but then the whole team decided to go against him, and then, he sat out, and then obviously all of the allegations and things started piling up, so they ended up moving on from him. But, he signed that extension. Josh Allen has signed his extension. Russell Wilson. All of those players are players that are supposed to be the face of their franchise, of the franchise that drafted him, and they all stayed. Why? Because 1, the team wasn't going to let them leave. And 2, they were in a good situation. All right? They were contending. Now, obviously, things changed with Deshaun Watson. When they traded away DeAndre Hopkins, they lost everybody. And he was like, what just happened? But all those other teams, right? The Chiefs, contenders. The Bills, contenders. The Packers, contenders. All these teams. These guys are staying with them because they're in a great situation. They've got great staff. They've got great management. Overall, they're going to stay with them. Why? Because it's better for their legacy, and it's better to try and win in the place they drafted you because that organization. It's risky for a star quarterback to move to a new situation because, let's say, the Jags offer you a massive deal, right? They're good, but the organization sucks, and they're not going to be able to win because they just can't do anything right. Lamar Jackson, now getting into him, is sitting in a great spot. He's in a great organization with great culture and great history of being contenders. Now, obviously, the situation isn't perfect. Greg Roman isn't the best, right? But maybe Mike McDonald is able to be that elite defensive coordinator that we hope he can be. The roster the Ravens have is fantastic. And Lamar Jackson wants to be in Baltimore. So, extending Lamar Jackson this offseason, so many people, the national media wants you to think that if Lamar Jackson isn't extended, it's horrible. It's not good. And they talk about, oh, Lamar Jackson hasn't signed his extension. This is terrible for the Ravens organization. He's going to leave. All of these things, they say that. Why? Because they're trying to put out content. The only way that they can get ratings is to hate on other players. More people want to listen to hate than they do praise. And nobody's more hated in the NFL than Mr. Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson doesn't sign his contract, it doesn't matter. Joe Flacco didn't sign his extension. And then what happened? He won the Super Bowl. Why? Because it was a focus on his contract year. Not on the contract, but on winning. Lamar Jackson's goal from day one was not to be the highest paid player in history. It wasn't to be the best player in history. It was to be the winningest player, right? He wanted to win Super Bowls. That is the goal. He is not focused on getting money right now. He's focused on winning. And what does winning equivalent to? Getting paid more. So if Lamar wins the Super Bowl this year, the Ravens are still going to offer him a deal. They may offer him more money. They may give him a $50 million a year deal. Actually, they probably would if he won the Super Bowl this year. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl this year and they get to the AFC Championship game, he's probably getting like $48 million. If he signs the extension right now, he's probably getting around $45 million. It's not that big of a difference, right? It's a couple $1,000,000 a year. The only concern of Lamar Jackson not signing the contract isn't from the Baltimore Ravens perspective, because I fully expect, unless the Ravens do something downright ridiculous and just do something horrible to Lamar Jackson, he's going to re-sign. The only concern about him not re-signing is if he gets injured, it's personally for Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have that contract to rely on, the guarantees and such. But other than that, Lamar Jackson's going to get paid. If you're looking at it from as a fan of the Baltimore Ravens, them not extending him right now is fine. Let's say Lamar Jackson wants to leave, okay? Let's say Lamar Jackson hates the Ravens at the end of this year, and he's like, I'm signing that contract elsewhere. What are the Ravens going to do? They're just going to say, all right, see you later, Lamar? No, they're going to franchise tag him. Then they're going to franchise tag him the next year. And what's funny is if they franchise tag him, most times when you franchise tag someone, you're overpaying them. Guys like Marcus May, when they get put on the franchise tag, because you're paid like a portion of the highest paid players at the position. Lamar Jackson will become the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, if not, top 3. They're going to be getting him for the same amount of money. And they can do that twice. So it's another 2 years of them trying to build back that trust. Now, I don't expect them to franchise tag him. I fully expect him to, sign that extension. But overall, Lamar is betting on himself. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing for the Baltimore Ravens, because this isn't a player that is an average role player, right? If you have a player like, I don't know, I don't want to hate on Hollywood Brown, but I'll say Hollywood Brown. You have a player like Hollywood, and he goes, no, I don't want to sign that extension. That's not a good thing for the Ravens, because, if he balls out, another team's going to pay him more money than the Ravens would have offered him, right? But no team's going to pay Lamar Jackson more than the Ravens will. Like, the Ravens are going to give him the maximum amount of money that can possibly be paid to him. Full guarantees, everything. They're going to give him everything. Now, if it's a role player, you don't want them to play out that contract, because if they play really well, then they're going to get, a bigger deal and you won't be able to afford them. Guys like Matthew Judon, guys like Zadarius Smith. You couldn't retain them because now all of a sudden they're out of your price range. The quarterback, there is no price range for the Ravens. They'll pay him. They'll write a blank check to him. But Lamar Jackson wants to get, he feels like he just wants to play football and he wants to win. And that shouldn't be a concern. It should be a benefit. It's one thing to be like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is like actively, oh, no, you got to give me my contract. I need that money. I want to stay here, but I need that money. Come on, give me the contract. That's one thing. Lamar Jackson's just like, I'm focused on winning. He doesn't talk about the contract. You know, he said, oh, yeah, we had a conversation about it. But, like, his focus is solely on winning. Every player that has talked to him has said, no, that's what he's focused on. Hollywood, when he got traded, they were like, have you talked to Lamar about his contract? He's like, yeah, man, he's just not focused on that. He's just trying to win a Super Bowl. He's not trying to force the Ravens into giving him more money. He's just trying to say, hey, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to win that Super Bowl. And just like Joe Flacco did when he won that Super Bowl, I'm going to get the money then. And if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, he'll sign the extension for whatever the Ravens offer him anyway. Too many people are blowing the Lamar Jackson hasn't signed the contract extension way out of proportion. It's fine if he doesn't sign the extension. Honestly, good for him for betting on himself. He's unorthodox. The way he plays quarterback is unorthodox. The way he doesn't have an agent is unorthodox. And that's okay. That's why we have Lamar Jackson. That's why we love Lamar Jackson, is because he does things his own way. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are on, if you think the contract extension will get done, if you think it matters, and things of that nature. But thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and I will see you all again tomorrow.